Hi guys, and welcome to our CGTN special live streaming for the Boao Asia Forum. I've been in this beautiful tropical city of Hainan for a couple of days now, and I've been enjoying the forum. But for these couple of days, there's a topic that I've been hearing often on and on in the panels and among the delegates, and that is about Hainan's Free Trade Port. And that is China's test pilot free zone, and also one of China's only maybe free trade ports here. So what do? I pack my cameras, I come here from Boao to this special FTP area to give you the latest on what is happening here. So when people talk about free trade ports or free trade zones, we often think about all the business incentives. So the incentives in taxes, incentives in ports, in tariffs. But before all that happens, there needs to be a stage where everything plays out on, and that's why I've invited our special guest, Professor Lin Guangming, who is the chief planner for the Hainan FTP. Hi, Professor.
Hi. Welcome to Yangpu.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing. But first, before we start, could you explain to our audiences what your key role here in Yangpu is?
As an urban planner, my key responsibility is to help create an urban stage that allow all the players to perform well, to fulfill their dreams and aspirations. So when I first came to Yangpu in 2020, I was in charge of upgrading Yangpu's plans to ensure that the urban stage is vibrant, livable, inclusive, open, and green.
Cool. And we can actually see here on the stage, we just walk with me a bit. I'm guessing this is where we are at?
Yes, we are here right now. Yeah.
And when did you arrive here in Hainan?
2020.
Oh, okay. And what was it like before? And what do you think is the biggest change that you've witnessed in this 4 years, maybe?
Close to 4 years. When I first arrived, and I witnessed, I also participate in the entire process. I would say that it's an exciting place with rapid growth and great potential. You can see that the port, the industry, the city itself, and also the population, especially talents. You can see that a lot of change, a lot of positive change took place here. And you can see that a lot of companies, they are settled here.
And we were talking before, and before Professor Lin arrived here in Hainan, you actually worked in Singapore, right? You lived and worked in Singapore. And I know a lot of viewers that's on our platforms lives overseas, and a lot of you know that Singapore is often dubbed the model city or the perfect city. So have you used that in your philosophy and in your as a guiding policy in creating what we see here in Yangpu today?
Yes, because the Yangpu itself as a city is a new city, but Singapore is a mature city. It's very livable. So when we do the planning in Yangpu, we use Singapore as a typology. So we actually adopt a lot of practice and philosophies here. For example, we try to balance between economy, environment, and society. We also put people at heart of our plans. So that's the key. For example, we also promote this idea of embracing the world and embracing the future, because the city was born against the backdrop of FTP, Hainan FTP. So we have to do something differently. We took a different path to grow our economy, to address the needs of the existing residents and the newcomers.
Yeah. That's definitely a lot of challenges. So, and I know the building we're currently in right now, you are in charge of designing and the areas and putting all the display on. So maybe you can take me on a quick tour? Sure. Excellent. So just want to let the viewers know, if you guys do come to Yangpu, this place is also open to public. So if you want to learn more about the history and what Yangpu is doing right now, I really recommend you guys coming over here. But before we go further inside, I'm not sure if any of you know where Yangpu is or even where Hainan is. So maybe Professor Lin can show us here on the map that we have.
Sure. Perhaps I use a pointer. Yangpu is here. This is the Hainan Island. So it's the intercept of China's One Belt, One Road, and also the international sea-land corridor. And it serves two largest markets. One is the mainland China, 1.4 billion population, and another one is the ASEAN, 650 million population. Wow. So we are the deep harbor close to the ASEAN region. So actually, it now positioned by the central government as the international logistic hub, seaside logistic hub.
So I think our viewers can actually see from what we have, although it is in Chinese. So we're here in Hainan. This is one of probably the largest island we have in China as well. And you can see it's actually an intersection to the whole nation, to China, and also to the rest of the world. And this is why we're saying this is the gateway for China and to prosperity. And I know that in 2022, President Xi probably walked along this corridor as well, and you were here. But he mentioned about culture and ethical progress advancing in tandem with the deepening reform and also expanded opening up. I mean, how have you used that in your philosophy when you're creating Yangpu?
That is another very important principles and strategies. Culture is a DNA of a city, and very hard to create, very hard to change. Yangpu and the adjoining Xinyi Bay area has a very unique culture, has at least 1,000 years of history, and we leverage on that. And we also cater to the needs of the so-called new residents, because it tend to be migrant cities. We try to attract new talents and their families. So we must put our forms ready. The stage must have a good forms. The forms must meet the functions. The function are for the residents. And we also try to make it a fun city. So we say that form follows function, follows fun. So it must be a fun city. I say it is a new city, a young city. And in another part of in our planning, try to guide it by the presidency's instruction. We try to make this city attractive to talents, and make sure when they settle here, they fall in love with the city. And at the end of the day, they can have a sense of belonging here. So in that sense, the culture represents the value of the city. The value represent the value here is form follows function follows fun, and it has the attractiveness, affection, and attachment. That perhaps is our vision for the city for the next maybe a few decades.
Because we mentioned earlier you came from Singapore, and Singapore is a pretty mature city. It took about 50 years to develop to what we see Singapore now. But we have to remember that Yangpu is very new. It's like a rebirth almost. And what has been the challenges for you, kind of working in Singapore from a mature city to almost starting from scratch here?
I would say Yangpu is a very exciting place. It allows us to turn our ideas into reality. But it takes time to realize all our dreams, visions. So what the challenge we have is we try to step by step, year by year, we must produce tangible results, outcomes that people can see, so they can have faith in our plans. That is the most difficult and challenging part.
And I don't know if the viewers can see, but we are standing right now in the Beihu Gulf. We're standing right in the sea, and behind you guys, or in front of me, we actually have a miniature model, right, of Yangpu. Well, and those are cargo ships.
This is a cargo port.
Cargo port. Actually, I've noticed that driving up from Boao on the journey here, I've seen as we get closer to Yangpu, there's an increasing number of trucks with cargo ships and containers. So I'm guessing they all came from here, or their destination is here?
Now, Yangpu Port is the busiest port in Hainan, the only business port in Hainan. and it also the only international shipping port in container port in Hainan. So all the international goods is import and loaded here, and then if the destination is within Hainan, the truck will distribute to, for example, Haikou and Sanya, and some of the cargoes will transfer to mainland China, for example, Qingzhou, Zhanjiang, perhaps Guangzhou, and Shanghai and Ningbo and so on, and even Tianjin. Yeah.
Wow. And does this cater to the rest of the world as well? Or, wow. So if I understand correctly, this is the only port we have right now that caters to our entire nation and also overseas.
In Hainan. Yeah.
In Hainan. So then, with so many incentives that's attracting a lot of business coming into our free trade port and free trade zone, that's got to be a lot of pressure for you guys once that expands, because these ships are huge. So what are your plans for the future once they started crowding out?
Well, that's a very good question. I would say that is a positive pressure. We take it as a challenge, as also an opportunity. So in terms of the space and the land, we have to cater. The infrastructure must cater for all the container ship, and by 2025 we are ready for the biggest to welcome the biggest container ship in the world, and not only that. So the sea size, it must be good enough, must be deep enough to cater to that. And for the land side, we have upgrading our expressway. Yeah. So make sure all the cargo, all the trucks, they can operate efficiently. It will not congest the city. We separate the local traveling needs and also the intercity traveling needs. We separate that.
Okay.
So make sure the truck will not congest the city itself.
Yeah, because I come from quite a congested city, so coming here from Beijing, I know what that feels like once we get the cars and the people on the road. And actually, I can see here, I'm just looking really closely now, you can actually see a lot of the companies that's already here, because I know we have national companies here and also FTSE companies that have settled here. So what was your philosophy when I'm guessing you planned for this? How did you segment or compartmentalize everything?
That's a very good question. When I came, I actually fill in a gap in the plans. We create three very unique industrial parks.
Okay.
For example, the Food Valley, it caters for healthy food production companies, because they can make full use of the Hainan Free Trade Port policies. They import materials, the raw materials from overseas, and we have that part. And another one is over there. That is for the new material. This part, new material industrial park. That's another one. And the third one is for the renewable energy, especially the wind
turbines, right?
Yes.
And hydros and everything.
Yes, there's through three separate but also very unique industrial park, cater for different kind of industries and their associated companies.
Yeah, because I know when you're building a modern industrial city, especially in nowadays, is that how you incorporate a lot of the digitization, a lot of the new advanced technologies, and also making it sustainable for the people living here and for the companies here. Yeah. And there are a lot of, we say, free trade zones, even in China, and also there are a lot around the world. Yeah. So in your mind, what do you think makes your port unique?
Well, I would say the first selling point is the Hainan Free Trade Port policies. Yeah. Secondly is location, because we are the closest port that connect with China and ASEAN, especially ASEAN countries. The third is the infrastructure. By next year, we are ready for the largest container ship. So infrastructure, it allows us has a gateway between Hainan and the rest of the world. Lastly, I would say we have a team from the government side, have a team that has this serving attitudes. We treat our companies as a partner, as our clients. So they put out their requests, they put out their needs. Then what we try to do as, for example, as an urban planner, we must understand, we must study their needs carefully. Even before they come, we must study their needs and then cater to their needs. But in the implementation of the plans, or when they come, they also have different kind of requests.
Of course.
So we have to adjust our plans in order to meet their needs. So it takes a lot of efforts and also the serving attitudes. We must serve our clients from our heart. Otherwise, they cannot settle down.
Oh, so it's all about customer service.
Yes.
Have you had any complaints?
I think so far okay.
Okay.
We have a lot of discussions between, for example, our planning team and also the companies. They will talk to us. We also would talk to them quite often. As I said, we are like partners.
Yeah.
We try to make sure that companies, no matter where they're from, they can settle here, they can make money. That is our ultimate goal.
I think you've done a really good survey of what your customers want, because I know a lot of these international companies and domestic companies, I think their key goal is to make money. And I've actually invited one of your clients, so we'll see if they agree with what you've been telling me, right?
Yeah, you can test whether what I say is true or not.
So I've invited Vice General Manager Mr. Cao Youhua, who is a Vice Manager of Oscar International Oils and Grains. So I'll just come over here. 曹总你好。
你好，你好，
你好，你好。Okay, so 我们中文交流，然后 and I'll translate, or I'll try to translate for our viewers overseas. So first of all, can you explain to us what your company does here in Yangpu? 您主要
我们是一家集植物油、植物蛋白和磷脂产品的研发、生产、加工以及国内外产贸销于一体的这种全产业链企业。
So Oscar International Oils and Grains manufacture, produce, and import oils and organic proteins into Yangpu, and then those are distributed within China. 然后我想问一个问题，不知道能不能问哦。I want to ask a question because I have a client and I have a customer service. So why did you choose Yangpu? 您为什么选择了这里？
您不用翻译，我听得懂，我不会讲。
好的，好的。
我在想，我们之所以选择落户杨浦，是有3个重要的因素叠加的结果。
Okay, so there are 3 important policies or decision-making schedules why they're here in Yangpu.
首先一个是杨浦的独特的区位优势。
So it's unique location or geolocation here.
可以说不仅仅是因为杨浦是整个海南这个自然条件、水生条件最好的天然良港。
So Yangpu here in Hainan is one of the ports that has a natural advantage in its ecological and demographic advantages. So they have a very deep water port, right?
而且它非常的便利，它横跨3个大的经济区域，
So it's very convenient because it actually crosses 3 main areas.
分别是中国的粤港澳大湾区，
So the Great Bay Area.
对，以及它依托于国家战略西部陆海行动道，可以直达中国的中西部省份。
And the China's strategic International Sea Land Corridor that can directly go into China's central and western parts.
同时，它也是中国毗邻东盟国家最近的港口城市。
And it's also one of the ports that's closest to the ports of ASEAN countries.
这3个大的市场，有超过10亿规模的人口。那为我们提供了巨大的市场机遇。
Wow! So within these markets, there's over 1 billion customers in these areas. So it's definitely a huge market for Oscar.
第2个重要的因素就是 可以说海南自贸港独特的政策优势。
And the second reason is the special policies that are here in the Hainan FTP.
比如这个所得税的优势，再比如加工增值免关税政策的等等。
So there's advantage in the corporate income tax here in Yangpu, in Hainan, and also the value-added tax in processing and manufacturing. 那我能问一下，现在这边的所得税是多少？个人所得税？
个人所得税是不超15%，
就是没有上。
上限就是15%。
So the income tax here in Hainan is 15%, and there isn't a benchmark for how much you earn. So that's very different to even where I am.
第三个重要的因素，就是当地优良的营商环境。可以说，政府为企业提供了温暖、贴心的服务。
And the third reason is basically what Professor Ling and his team has been able to provide the companies and corporates that are here. It's heartwarming and it's a nice environment, ecosystem to be in. 您是真实的吧？不是。Okay, so let's just check. And you can actually see here, there's a lot of companies that have their products here on display. And there's definitely a lot of international and domestic. Right, that's here.
The companies that we attract over this past few years, because of what the reasons that Mr. Chow has shared.
Wow, fantastic. So we'll keep on walking. And I've seen the container ships. So probably a lot of you are asking, what are container ships or what do cargo ships look like? So these are the ones that are currently in use, right?
Yes, and then we register in Yangpu. We call it as a Yangpu port.
Yangpu port.
So you can see all those ports that traveling around the world. You can see that in with the Yangpu as their identity.
Wow. So you mentioned there's going to be the biggest ship that's going to come in. Is that on display yet?
We are able to cater for accommodate the biggest container ship by next year.
Wow, next year. So hopefully I'll be here next year to check out the ships.
Sure.
And we were talking about building a stage and having the corporates here. But I think the most important thing is you have everything ready, is getting the talents in. How do you attract, or what's important for corporates to ensure that you can attract talents from not only China but all around the world? What are the things that you look for? What are the things that your talents really want when they come here? 因为我们已经有了这个 stage 一个舞台，然后您的企业也入驻了，那我们的人才是怎么能引进进来的呢？
我刚才一直在思考，您这个问题问得非常好，就是可以这么说，企业发展最重要的在于人才。那其实人才集聚海南，它不单单是一个人，它往往是面临一个家庭。那对一个家庭来说，那就不单单是工作跟休闲，更重要的还有家庭生活的配套，就是小孩的教育。是吧？老人的医疗，这些都让我们对这个新城提出了更多的要求。
So when we talk about attracting talents in, it's not just about getting one talent in. You really have to consider them coming in with their family, with their kids, or with their parents, and you have to think about the nurseries for the schools, the education, and also hospitals, medical supplies. That basically creates a complete ecosystem within this new modern industrial city, right? Because when we talk about modern industrial cities, a lot of the time, Mr. Cao mentioned that it needs to have a good environment, not just to work, not just for leisure, but to live in, to be livable. But when we talk about modern industrial cities, we often think about concrete jungles. So I've been to a couple, for example, in Dubai or even Hong Kong. You have these high skyscrapers, but driving into Yangpu, I've noticed that there's actually a lot of greenery. It's not what I had in mind, to be honest. Was that part of the planning?
That's a very important part of our planning philosophy, and also so because nature is the unique characteristic of our city. So we leverage on the nature. When you're building the stage, nature is not only just the backdrop, but it becomes the central theme of the stage. So what we call the fourth generation city, we embrace the nature and break down the barrier between city and the nature. We make city as part of the nature. It's like Singapore, not only city in garden, but city in nature. Because there are some similarity between our city and Singapore. So that will, I think, will become a very attractive selling point for our newcomers, and also it will make this city very present, very unique, and I would say very livable.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. And when we're talking about plans for the future, because we talk about Singapore a lot, 50 years, and here you've been for 4 years, and I think the FTP started in 2020. What are the visions for the future, or what other works do you have planned for the city? Because once you start attracting the companies, attracting the talents, are we going to run out of places or land areas to live in, to work in? Will it turn into a concrete jungle?
I would say because for our city, we try to develop a city with about 1 million population. Right now, we only have 320,000 population, permanent residents. So the long-term planning goal is to accommodate about 1 million population. So how to meet all those needs? So with our land size, I think we are able to do that, because land size is similar to Singapore. We have 772 square kilometers. Singapore is about 723 kilometers. But Singapore, we have close to 6 million population. So in this city is about 1 million. So I think it's able to create a livable, low density or even medium density city that with a lot of greenery, a lot of ecological features, and able to cater to the needs, not only the talent themselves, but also their families. And we also cater to not only the talents at the current stage, but the life cycle from as a moment of life, as a kid and adult and family, and also maybe one time retire. So we have to cater to different group of people at a different stage of their lives.
So you're basically building a city for generations to come, a sustainable city that's going to grow in its ecosystem and into its own community. Yeah. And here we can see there's a lot of bicycles and VRs. What is this area? Could you
because the exhibition center is open to the public.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of so-called equipments or a lot of fun parts that kids, they can have fun here. And a lot of local people or people from other cities, when they when they come, they enjoy a lot here.
So, I mean, the city's going to grow, and I want to ask a question to Mr. Cao as well. With the growth and expansion of the FTP, how will that benefit Oscar? 就是我们现在的自贸区也是一直在像林教授介绍的，一直在扩展。那这个对您的企业的话，会有什么样的助力？
我在想，因为海南自贸港它核心的因素除了零关税、低税负跟减税制之外，它未来会更加的开放，更加的自由。那对我们企业不单单是这个开发国内的市场，更重要的是为我们企业走出去提供了一个更好的平台。
So we were saying that not only are there incentives in taxes and zero tariff policies, there is also a lot of emphasis on opening up and also freedom of the market. So it's definitely a great gateway for domestic companies to go out and to see the world, and also a gateway for imports to come in as well. So I think we're going to enjoy rest of this exhibition hall as well, and I want to enjoy rest of the city as well. So is there anywhere you can recommend that we can go after this?
If you would like to as a visitor, I would say you can take a look at our the salt pan. It's very is an attraction.
Yeah,
with thousands years history.
Yeah, I saw on the way here there were the salt pads, and this is exactly what this building, the exterior of the building looks like, right?
Yes. And you can enjoy the food there. It's very nice.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this live streaming. It's been very enlightening, and there's definitely a lot I've learned. And for our viewers overseas or anywhere where you are, if you get the chance to visit Hainan, get a chance to visit Yangpu, do come here because it's definitely different to a lot of the cities that I've been before. So Boao will be for another couple of days. Please stay tuned. We're going to bring more programs for you guys on CGTN and on all our social platforms. So stay tuned, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.